got you haven't learned. And it's things that if I, through conversations with Brother Munir Muhammad or other Muslims, they bring to mind things that, oh yeah, there it was. That's what was laying dormant in the back of my brain. But I want to give you some of this history on the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We dealt with the hypocrisy of Malcolm. But now, we remember now, Malcolm, and I'm going to talk on this. I'm not going to show you these clips here. But Malcolm, after he left the Nation of Islam, he held a press conference, I believe it was March 8th of '64, and he said that he's still a Muslim, and he believed that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had the best solution. And then he dispatched a letter, I believe that letter was March 12th, explaining the press conference to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But what happened that June that he was in front of, on Queens Boulevard in front of the courthouse? I'll show you this clip.
Elijah Muhammad, the head of the movement, is the father of 8 children by 6 different teenage girls, 6 different teenage girls who were his private personal secretary. The one who first made me aware of this was Wallace Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad's son. And the one who first made me aware of this was Wallace Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad's son.
But didn't you tell Malcolm what you had learned about your father?
No.
You did not?
No, I did not. In fact, it was Malcolm. I was in prison when most of that was going on. And when I returned from prison, one day Malcolm was at my father's house. And he told me that, he said, I came here once, he said, and I saw one of the secretaries, 2 of the secretaries, he said, outside with their babies, He said, and it was cold, very cold, and snow outside. He said, and when I went in, someone rang the bell. He said, and no one got up to answer the door. He told me that he knew that it was the secretaries out there. He knew that. And he asked my father, he said, could he go answer the door? And he said, would you permit me to handle this for you? He said, and my father told him no. He said it was something that he had to handle himself.
Wow.
Yes, that was the first time I heard of that in any conversation with. We suspected things, but we were afraid to actually believe that things were going on, you know, that we couldn't deal with, that we couldn't digest it well. So we just blocked it out of our minds. And I'm sure Malcolm did the same thing until he saw that situation right there. And
yes, he said so, but as Malcolm also had a reputation for being very, very candid.
Yeah.
And there's a film interview. I've done a lot of research on him, as you may know. And there is an interview where Malcolm said that he was told by you about what his father had been engaged in, and he said to you that if it had been anybody but you telling me what you just told me, I would kill you. And now you say that what Malcolm said is not true.
It's not true. He first disclosed to me what he had seen, what he saw. And
none of you sitting here love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad like I love him.
Go ahead, brother.
Because there's one thing about it, brother. When a certain person began to talk about it, I took it on myself to go tell him. I didn't wait. I went and told him myself. He said the others get it, and the other was talking behind his back, but I went and told him. That's where true love is, brother.
That's right.
Because you love a man, you're going to tell him what he's saying about it. Whether you believe it or not, you're going to tell him. And let him do something about it. I don't get involved in family affairs. All I do is I thank Allah for allowing me to hear Islam, whatever way it comes to me.
Betty Shabazz said that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave her this home as a wedding present. Remember, she was married January the 14th of 1958 to Malcolm. But why would the Honorable Elijah Muhammad give her the home years later? That didn't make sense. And Malcolm said in an article, and I'm talking off the top of my head again, but in a magazine, Malcolm had said in an interview that after his first daughter, Attila, was born, shortly after that, they moved to the home that was at 2311 97th Street in East Elmhurst. Now, that's nearly a year later. She was born the same month and year I was born, in November of 1958. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wouldn't give a wedding present. That that didn't seem to make sense. We have letters, again, that and maybe I'll call Brother John Ali, the former secretary, to confirm some of this. But they shared a duplex in Queens. That's Secretary John Ali and his family, and Malcolm, Sister Betty, and the children. They shared a or they shared a home there prior to her moving to 97th Street. So all of this is history, brothers and sisters, but I only mention this, and this is what we'll do. We'll let you, Munir Muhammad, I was with Brother Munir Muhammad at the home, at Malcolm X home, and we'll let Minister Farrakhan, former secretary, marry 43 ex-parents. They had taken over the home in 1970, but I'll let you hear this clip.
Here at 2311 in this historical house, we were hoping that Muslims still own the place. And of course, it's a daycare center now. And who do we meet but a very distinguished man, Mr. Muhammad Ali. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Look, let me ask you, you've been in this house for how long?
Since 1970.
Since 1970?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously when the minister left this house, Minister Farrakhan, you ended up with.
Right. I came in after him.
Now, you obviously go back a long ways with the minister.
Back to 57, I'll say, between 57.
So you were located in Boston at first?
Yes, sir.
With brother, Captain Clarence?
Right, Captain Clarence, Captain Rodney at one time.
You know, it's amazing because I got a chance to interview Clarence when he was dying. You know, he had some kind of cancer. Now, he received me into his home. Those believers in Boston, very good believers. But when did you come in the Nation of Islam?
I came in the Nation in 1957. I don't remember the month, but it was in 1957, I think.
So you had always known Minister Farrakhan?
Well, I started out when Minister Farrakhan came to Boston as the minister. He came from New York, and Minister Malcolm had brought him to Boston to install him as the minister for Boston. So that's when I met him.
You all became friends?
Right.
So obviously you're still friends today?
Right.
So what do you think about the significance of this house? I mean, what do you see from a historical perspective?
Well, I just think that, you know, it's a place that we should keep and maintain because of the history and the work that Minister Malcolm done while he was alive. I think we should keep it as some kind of reminder or, you know, among the nation anyway.
Well, allow me to ask you this, and I hope that this doesn't offend you, but you say for the work that Malcolm did, and that's great. But what about the owner of the house initially, the man who purchased the house? What about his memory?
Well, it's a memory also for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Well, when I mentioned Malcolm, I mentioned him in the connection as, well, I know that the messenger was his teacher, and what he did, I mean, the messenger was responsible for his work and the things that he done.
But initially, and the reason I say this, Brother Muhammad, is that the subliminal message that goes with this automatically, even though Minister Farrakhan certainly lived in the house longer than Malcolm, did he not?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And it was a bit of controversy because, see, according to even the things that we read, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made the house available, but it didn't end on great terms. But the message that's always construed as if this house belonged exclusively to Malcolm, and that was not the case, was it?
No, not that I know of. It never was the case. The press played it up that way, but for my knowledge, it never was the case.
You know, you're such an important part of this history, and I'm really proud of you because you've been married to the same woman for 50 years.
A little over.
A little over.
We said 50, but more like 56.
How many children did you have?
7.